Gil Martin here, and welcome everybody to the Daily Packers Post as we break down all things Green Bay Packers all the time. And great to be back after the bye. The Packers 6-3 as they resume play, healthier and ready to take on their biggest traditional rivals, the Chicago Bears. Green Bay 6-3, Chicago 4-5, but losers of three straight and struggling big time, especially on offense. In fact, the Bears actually replaced their offensive coordinator. They fired him midweek and now are going with their former passing game coordinator as their new offensive coordinator. And I guess the big question is, will that have any impact on the game? But before we break down a few of the key matchups, got to say overall, that the one thing we noticed from the first half of the season is that the team that is most capable of beating the Packers is the Packers. They're 6-3, and yet I don't think they've played their best football yet. Talking about untimely penalties, dropped passes, interceptions thrown by Jordan Love that resulted in pick sixes. The kicking game, which hopefully now is back now that McManus has replaced Narvison. But overall, there's just a lot of things that this team has done to get in their own way, and that seems to be the biggest obstacle for the Packers over the first 9 games of the season. So looking at this matchup right now, Packers and Bears, I think that there are a lot of things that the Packers can do to exploit the Bears. Chicago, as I mentioned, losers of 3 straight, and they've scored a grand total of 27 points in those 3 games. Green Bay's defense should be able to shut down Caleb Williams and this Chicago offense. Now, Caleb Williams, he's a rookie. You look at the numbers, they're not terrible. 60.5% completion percentage. He's got almost double the number of touchdowns to interceptions. He's only thrown 5 picks all year in 9 games, but he only has 9 touchdown passes. The big thing you notice about Caleb Williams' numbers, 2 things jump out. Number one, his yards per attempt, despite a pretty good completion percentage, is only 6.1. So a lot of his throws that get completed have been short passes rather than long passes. And then the other thing, and I think this is related to that first stat, the other thing is that the Bears have allowed Williams to be sacked 38 times through 9 games. That is near the bottom of the league. And, when you have a rookie quarterback, even one as talented as Caleb Williams, there's always that adjustment period. And a rookie needs a little more time to process what they're seeing in front of them from a defense and maybe to make decisions, because it's not as automatic as they are after a quarterback gains more experience. Well, Caleb Williams has not had the time to throw. And from a Packers perspective, if I'm Jeff Hafley, you look at the Chicago offensive line, it's struggling. It's dealing with injuries. It has not been good this year in pass protection. And if you watch the film, one thing you have to notice is how bad the Bears are at basically, picking up stunts and blitzes and those kind of things. So the Packers and Jeff Hafley, whether it's Rashawn Gary or Lucas Van Ness coming off the edge, maybe finally Kenny Clark gets a little pressure. Certainly, you might be able to get some pressure from Devontae Wyatt. But regardless of where it comes from, if the front 4 doesn't get home, and even if they do get a little pressure, the way this Bears offensive line has struggled to pick up blitzes and stunts, I want to see Edgerrin Cooper coming on a blitz. maybe Quay Walker, although he's not as efficient at getting to the quarterback when he's been blitzing. You certainly would want to put Keyshawn Nixon out there blitzing, or Evan Williams on occasion out there blitzing. But there are things this Packers team can do to get pressure on Caleb Williams. And if they can do that, I think they are in really good shape. And, the Bears are struggling. So you want to keep their confidence down, and getting pressure on Caleb Williams is really important. If Williams does throw the ball, his favorite target right now has been DJ Moore. He has 40 catches to lead the team in that department. You've got a solid tight end in Cole Kmet. And then Rome Adunze, excuse me. He's more of a deep threat, also a rookie, not quite yet where you expect him to be. And again, when you have a deep threat like that, the fact that he cannot get deep because there's not a lot of time to throw the football, I think that's sort of limited him. Jair Alexander, healthy again for the Packers. I think we'll see him try to shut down DJ Moore primarily, but great to have Jair back. It is huge, and great to have Evan Williams back, because Williams really makes a difference when the Packers can put Keyshawn Nixon on the perimeter and then Javon Bullard in the slot. They are a much better defense. Got to slow down DeAndre Swift, the former Lion, now the leading rusher for the Bears. He's averaging 4 yards a carry. He's gained 564 yards, so he's on pace for a 1,000-yard season. But, when the Bears struggle, they fall behind. You can't run the ball as frequently. Packers' run defense has been better, but not where you want it yet. But they can't allow the Bears to run the ball, and they've got to slow down Caleb Williams. He's second on the team with 40 rushes for 236 yards, averaging almost 6 yards a carry. But you've got Edgerrin Cooper, you've got Quay Walker, guys who can spy Caleb Williams. And so far, I have to say, and this has not been the case in previous years, the Packers have been able to limit the effectiveness of running quarterbacks like they weren't able to do in the recent past. On offense, obviously, running the ball is, I think, the key for the Packers. You look at the Bears' defense, they are 7th in the league in passing yards per game, but 24th in the league against the run. Green Bay, 3rd in the league at running the football. And you got to think we are going to see a healthy dose of Josh Jacobs. Jacobs on right now is on pace to have the 3rd best single season rushing production of any running back in Packers history. Only Amon Green and Jim Taylor had better seasons. And again, if Jacobs can pick it up in the second half, he might even be able to pass Taylor's total. But you got to think you're going to see a healthy dose of Josh Jacobs running between the tackles if you are Matt LaFleur and the Green Bay Packers. And then the other thing is that the Packers offensive line, which has done a really good job of pass protection this year, you got to prevent Gervon Dexter Sr. He leads the team with 4 sacks coming from the defensive tackle position. And then you have Montez Sweat next with 3.5 sacks. I am very confident that Zach Tom and Rasheed Walker can handle Sweat pretty well, but Dexter is going to be on the interior. So you need Josh Myers, you need Elton Jenkins, and Sean Ryan to handle him in the interior. I hope they can. That's going to be one of the keys for the Packers as well. If Jordan Love has time, I am confident he can do some damage against this Chicago Bears defense and secondary. They're good, but the Packers offense, I think, is just a little bit better, and it'll be important. The other thing, again, and we kind of touched on it at the beginning of the segment, don't beat yourself. Cut down on those penalties. cut down on those drop passes. I mean, I really like Dontavian Wicks, but he has dropped so many passes this year. He's talented. He's capable. He has got to be able to hold on to the ball, because if he does, he can be really, really dangerous going forward. Overall, I think this is a game the Packers should win. They can't lose the turnover battle. That, to me, is big. Both of these teams very good at taking the ball away, and they don't turn it over very much. Love can't throw those interceptions. Look for Xavier McKinney to get at least one interception in this game. I think he'll be able to bait Caleb Williams into making a mistake, thinking that a guy is open, and then cutting him off and maybe making the pick. So let's see if the X-Man can do that for the Packers. Look, on paper, this is a game the Packers should be able to win. They are, quite simply, the better team. Now, the better team doesn't always win, but the Packers on paper are the better team. A big concern I have, or maybe a concern I have in this game, as I mentioned, the Bears with a new offensive coordinator, it's possible they just throw in every trick play and every little twist that you could think of, because they throw caution to the wind and they say, you know what? If we lose this game, we're in real trouble. We're not going to make the playoffs. We're going out swinging. And maybe a different voice or a different play caller changes their approach a little bit and keeps the Packers off balance. I think Jeff Hafley will adjust. I don't think it'll be a big problem. My prediction for this game, Packers 27, Bears 17. Make sure you join us every day at the Daily Packers Post as we bring you in-depth coverage of the Green Bay Packers. I'm Gil Martin. You can check out all of our written work at www.thepackerspost.com. Have a great day, everybody, and go Pack Go.